started. Get that going. I hate Twitter. Really, I just hate social media.
Social media is poison, but I need it.
Social
I
media.
need to see deck lists.
All right, we're live. Let's see. This is how it looks. It doesn't look too bad.
On Twitter?
Yeah.
Or on
Twitter? No. I can't retweet it because our Twitter guy is indisposed right now.
That's fine.
Yeah. But we are live, so
Alright, kick us off.
I'm going to kick us off then because I guess that's my job. This is the
Mm-hmm.
Dmvdrakes
streaming.
podcast. Yeah, I mean, this is the Dmvdrakes podcast, so we're going to just be talking freely about a few topics. First topic I wanted to talk about is just the regionals yesterday. May 27th, 2023, BT12 format. There was a lot of Bills and Mons. I think everybody expected that, but I don't think people were expecting 6 out of their 9 games to be entirely Bills and Mon. And funny enough, Bills and Mon didn't even win. It topped, but it didn't win. It only got it got what, fourth maybe, third or fourth, and really what won was Red Hybrids, and the second place was Bloom, which is wild because Red Hybrids is one of those decks I just did not expect to win anything. So
You thought it was the local killer.
it is though. It is the locals killer, but I would have thought Red Hybrid would have been too slow and too inefficient for everything else. Because
It's a very fast deck.
but you got a format where you could just like easily control tamers. You know,
That's one deck. That's one deck when you think about it, just black, 4, gray, and great mod decks.
I mean courts though.
Yep, true. But like you can just go into Emperor Greymon and pop quartz, so
Fair enough. I don't know. I honestly didn't even see Red Hybrid like doing anything.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, Spiderman, since you played Red Hybrid yesterday, like, how did it feel? Especially since you had to go against like Billsmon a lot, because Red Hybrids did end up taking it, and like you said, it is a very fast deck. But I would assume you'd probably have to see all the right pieces at the right time, and then Atomic Inferno to the moon. I'm guessing.
alright,
The
so
moon. I'm
I
guessing.
did play yesterday. I was the person who played 6 out of 9 Beelzemon players. Um the thing about Beelzemon is when you lose to Beelzemon, you're not really losing because you're misplaying. They're going to do their own thing, and you just got to kind of just sit there. You're losing to the game design of like X Antibody, Sevenfold Cluster, BX2 Mon. You're losing to how the game is designed to help them win. So as a red hybrid player, you kind of have to make this choice of tempo. You have to basically go first, set up your Takuyas or set up your Mon in the back, and they will delete you, triggering your effects. So as long as you stack them right, you'll maintain an advantage. But it gets to a point where they can easily like kill you from like 4 security or 5 security if they just high roll fast enough. So it's just speed that's mostly what you have to be concerned about. And if the Red Harbor player from yesterday that won just saw like the right pieces, um, they played into his strategy of deleting him, he kind of just can walk away with it because they can't really stop. They can't really interact with him other than Bloomlord. And not Bloomlord, of course.
Why is it that decks that I think aren't going to do well typically do well immediately after? Maybe I have bad takes. I'm not sure.
Like what? What you talking about?
Like the Red Hybrid. I swore I didn't think Red Hybrid would win. Right? I swore up and down Red Hybrid is not good enough to win, and then lo and behold,
I kept trying to tell you, Atomic Inferno is a hell of a card. Giving a rookie, if you have two in your hand, giving a like a champion 3 checks at like 12 DP is insane for turn two.
True.
Yeah, and
Um,
I'm also curious to see like the winning deck list too. Like, I
oh yeah,
wonder.
everybody's going to neck deck that. Don't get me wrong, myself included. But
Okay.
like it's a good deck. It's like as long as you're not playing Blackboard Machine Dramon or like Blackboard Gray, you can pretty much walk freely. Um, it's just a good deck. I think the only thing about it is that it just runs out of gas a lot. Maybe after like a certain point, it's a really good early game chip, and then once your opponent starts to set up countermeasures to it, that's when it kind of just shows its worth because you have no defense other than just pure aggression.
But what about like, how would you tech against it? I guess just run emergency program shutdown to stop the atomic infernos, or just switch
No,
from
no.
course to Shibamon.
No, you can't really stop an atomic throw. That's not really the issue. It's like reminds you of BT7, how you can't interact with tamers. Um, one thing you can do not block them. I mean, they'll gain memory from it, or if they atomic and stuff. What you can do is like either redirect them with Cherrymon, redirect them with Analog Man, Magnemon X. Those works too. Um, it's like redirection works against it. Also, like some people were teching Digimon Emperor to kind of like slow down them pushing out level threes from raising.
Hmm.
That also works. Um, Gaussmon to stop Digivolution reductions for the Altamons also works.
Hmm.
That's just ways to slow them down. You just go back to old hybrid meta. Snipe Pokemon as soon as you can.
If you
Um,
can, unless you're me and you just let Pokemon sit there the entire game and you just can't deal with it because you're a bad player.
Pokemon will net you at like it netted me like what 13, 10 memory.
Netted you like
That whole
14 memory. I could not target that Pokemon for nothing. Efficiently. I couldn't target that Pokemon efficiently for beams, man. I just sat there.
true.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
Jared,
guess.
what's your take on it?
Pokemon? What's my take
The
on
red.
Pokemon?
No, Jared, what's your take on like the state? You play because you played yesterday too. How was your game so far?
So my games, they were kind of flip floppy. A lot of the times, I felt like some of my losses were either to just luck more, or just bad luck more than just misplaying. But there were some situations where I could have played better, or I could have paid a little more attention to what I was playing against. And you have to be very aware of it. I was playing Blackboard Greymon, and how you have to build your stacks in that deck, especially pacing yourself, can be a little tough due to certain decks that have like a lot of speed. So I faced what were my matchups? My first round was actually Shine Greymon, and was it? I ended up losing to that somehow. On paper it's supposed to be a really good matchup for me, but
But
yeah,
Jared,
you get. Mhm.
you are Shine Greymon.
I know. I was looking at my deck the entire time, and I was like, where did I go wrong?
Bro, the great.
uh, but after that, I started to go on a bit of a streak. I faced Red Hybrid, and I actually had a really good time against it. I mean, being able to kill their tamers and just keep constantly clear their board when they have nothing left. It feels pretty good with the deck, and I can just kind of swing freely because they don't have very strong security checks that I have to worry about. Especially since I'm playing a Greymon deck. Greymon cards already have protections against deleting and bouncing, and then they can also get around playing. It gets around those like high DP security checks because I'm already swinging for like 16 plus, so I'm not necessarily afraid of anything. Um, that was good. I faced two Bilzamon players back to back as well,
Oof.
and I ended up winning against both of them because I'd either have like a blocker set up since Beelzemon kind of dies to block. Well, it doesn't die to blockers, but they can be hard to play around for Beelzemon. And in those, especially in those late game scenarios where they've milled all of their Wizardmons and Death Slingers out, it's become it's very easy to kind of play against, because it's like, okay, well, now I don't have to worry about all these lucky sacks on the mills. But it's more of the mid game when they really start popping off with Balmon or really, it's really just Balmon that makes that matchup a problem sometimes. And where I prefer to go into Black or Greymon X a lot of the time, because he's like, okay, well, I can kill that Balmon, and then when you bring out the Beelzemon, I can just reboot and just destroy it. Or if I kill the Balmon, I can just reboot, kill the Balmon. If I swing into security, to lose the floating effect. It really depends on how they're which one they go into between BT10 and the starter deck one, and how your board can interact. And then I started to go on a bit of a losing streak. I lost to I lost to a Hunters player, and on paper that was supposed to be a good matchup. I tied with a Black or Greymon player, and I lost to a Beelzemon player, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of it. The problems I ran into were that the Greymon deck in general's issue is that it's not as low to the ground. You have to search for a lot of your pieces. You have to build a good stack, which also means you got to draw into your Greymon X antibodies. And the night before, I cut down on a Greymon X antibody because I was like, 4 is enough. I have the BT11 one and 3 of the BT9 one. I can make space for another Greymon from the BT12 because I think having that extra 1,000 is really good for defensive purposes. And that ended up biting me more than helping me. So I was going to either go through. I was planning on retiring the deck competitively so I can, focus on other things. Or, but part of me wants to, improve it a little bit. The problem is that there's no regionals until July. So, yeah, that's kind of where I was at. In terms of the meta, I mean, unlike Spider-Man, I faced a lot of different decks. I ran into I ran into 3 Beelzemon players, and
I know I fought one of them.
Yeah, one of them we both faced, and then I think honestly the worst match for me was the Hunters match, because then that's where I was like, this deck is so piece reliant, it hurts me right now. And it's not even a combo deck. It's just building a tall stack, but I need to get rid of the Tamers. This is like the one matchup where I was prepared for mentally. I was like, this is a good matchup, and this is the one matchup I'm losing. Like, how? I don't care about the Shine matchup. I care about losing the Hunters more, because I'm like, this is more of a win and in type of situation, because I know there's going to be a lot in the top tables. So that's kind of where I was. I mean, regional was fine otherwise. I think it's more just mentally draining, especially when you're running a deck that constantly searches. So I don't expect, before this ban list, I don't expect this to be as stellar as it will be after, because there'll be a lot more Greymon players back in the mix. It's gonna feel like BT11 if anything.
Now, Saki, from an outside perspective looking in, how did you feel about the atmosphere of regionals? You was able to look on from Clay's side and kind of just observe it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much hit the nail on the head for a lot of it. There was, of course, a ton of Beelzemon and everything, and it seems as though there was a clear difference between a lot of the Beelzemon players who picked up the deck and were just expecting it to just run and didn't really get to top tables, and then there was everyone else who really understood the deck, and them being good at it alongside the game design problems that you guys described earlier kind of pushed everything forward there. I think one of the players was testing out the post ban list Beelzemon list during the regionals, and they still made it pretty far, like early on, which was really dope. However, in terms of deck diversity and all that good stuff, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, amongst you guys, but there did seem to be like just a whole lot of Beelzemon. I feel like a lot of people needed to get that last hurrah with the 4 of EX2 Imp. I think if I wanted to join that regionals on Saturday, a couple of sleeper hits, I think kind of spoke for themselves. Like even with like the red hybrids thing, it's a really fast deck. Bloom, kind of like what Zixxsa was saying like earlier on, like so long as it doesn't hit Psyche options and security against Beals, it kind of just runs through everything. Blue Flare could probably just last 5 turns against it and win, et cetera, et cetera. Honestly, I was more so surprised to see the spicy tech that people ran in certain lists more than
Yeah.
anything else. Especially like the one dude was playing hunters and had Beelzemon X antibody in there. They like slid X antibody under superior mode, and then when they swung during the end of turn effect, they warped in. They didn't warp, but they digivolved into Beelz X, trash security, and won. It was pretty insane.
Yeah, I was not seeing that coming. I don't think anybody would have fucking prepared for that.
Yeah,
That's just
yeah,
too
no, that
big
was that was
brain.
a hat trick and a half.
Literally, he
Yeah.
was. I didn't expect Yugimoto to switch to Digimon, bro. I just
Bro, actually,
like really, bro. Like, how big brain do you have to be? And shout out to whoever that was. But how big brain do you have to be to just be like, oh man, this is purple and this is purple, but I can't make them go. Oh, X antibody, yeah. And then end the turn, yeah, I could burn security, yeah. Like, oh man.
and it's crazy because like it'll also give you the number of sources you would need to do that in the first place, like just in case you had 3 or less.
Right,
Yeah.
that's fucking crazy, but
Yeah. All right. I think about now we could probably talk about, since we talked about a little bit more about the ban list. Um, what are your thoughts on it? What cards you felt like should have been on there? And like for each individual card, since we got 4 this time.
man, I really thought that um, I wasn't seeing a Blossomon hit at all. I didn't see that coming at all, but really, we've been getting away with Blossomon. Green players such as myself been getting away with that Blossomon for entirely too long. The
This
fact,
is vanilla age.
yeah, Vanilla
Arcane,
Agitar,
right?
no, you're good. The fact
No,
that
no,
you
no.
could just Digivolve for nothing into a 6 is entirely too fucking good. Like honestly, it's entirely too fucking good. And it was a long time coming. It needed to. It honestly just needed to go. It just
Because then they said it was for future game design. Because like it's sensitive vegetation. Rosemont could abuse that for her burst modes and stuff.
yeah, basically. I mean, yeah, Rosemont could abuse it. A lot of cards can abuse it. Not just in like vegetation type decks, also just in like any green deck that you want to ramp. You could just like easily ramp it to, I don't know who's doing it, but you can easily ramp into Shivamon like turn 2, burn security. You can easily ramp it to Rosemon. Even though you kind of want to use a Lilamon, you could easily just fucking not
Build up a
use.
second stack.
Yeah, you could easily not use any other fucking green card because it exists. You know, it doesn't limit it limits your deck building opportunities because it's like, why would I want to use more cherries? Why would I want to use Pistamon? Why would I want to use a what's that fucking thing from EX3 Tropicanamon? What the fuck?
Tropicana.
Tropicanamon, bro.
Tropicana.
Tropicana. Yeah, why would I use Tropicanamon when I could just fucking use Blossomon?
I'm memeing with you, man.
Hey, not sponsored,
Yeah.
by the way.
Hey man, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it needed to go. I was surprised they didn't hit Death Slinger, but I get why they hit the. It was like, do you want to hit the memory gain or do you want to hit the speed? And they hit the speed, which is probably the best choice. But that guy that was playing in regionals yesterday was like, oh well, I'm gonna play with the restricted list and I'm gonna just run more. I'm gonna just run more Miss Memory Boost to replace the imp, and that. And he went 4-0. I don't know what was his record after that, but he went 4-0 so far, so it was working for him.
Yeah. I think from looking at the restriction list, The Blossom hit, I think that's good justification. It does limit game designs. After playing through 6 Beelzemons, I can definitely say Dietmon needs to go. Um, it really isn't the Wizardmon or the Deathslinger. Deathslinger as a card itself isn't really that offensive. 4 costs a pop, but it's like, and they already Deathslinger gets as the EX2 Impmon goes up, Deathslinger gets more effective, but as it go down, the card it's like the memory gain is annoying, but it's mostly the hey, I got 20 cards in my trash, I can pop you level 6 for 4 memory.
Basically,
That's
yeah.
kind of crazy. It's it feels like that card is just there to kind of accelerate and put it's crack. It's just crack
Yeah, the
at this
fact
point.
that if you like mill with a Yaman or a Balmon, right,
And hit 2 of them.
and you hit two of them, you just mill six from there. It's
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that
that's the
happened to
problem with it,
me.
bro.
That happened to me before in another regional because I think they milled two of their EX2 Immons on two different effects, and then they just got even more in their trash after that. And I just got clapped up from there then
Mm.
on because so long as it's not milled by its own effect, it's always yeah, I think it's just always good for you, especially since it's a you may ability. So if you're worried about milling yourself out, you're just like, oh, I mean, I guess I just won't now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just all right, free gas. All right, let's keep it going.
yeah. Because one thing I ran into a lot yesterday, I would go into Burning Greymon, pop their BT2 Impmon that trashes top 3 cards. I would pray that I don't hit a Death Slinger or a Wizardmon. I wouldn't hit those. I would hit the EX2 Impmon, which will then mill the Death Slinger and or Wizardmon. And then, they basically got 5 cards in trash instead of like, they basically got like 6 cards in trash instead of 3, and they still gain the memory. So, I feel like it needed to be hit. And moving on, um, I'm pretty sure we didn't see this coming for these next two. The Wergurumon promo and the Grand Kawagamon promo. I felt like this should have been here in EX3 for real.
Oh
Yeah.
God,
But
yeah. My snap reaction was, I mean, good on you, but you're way too late. Like what?
I think they didn't hit it in EX3 because then everybody would be playing Bloom. Bloom, if
that's
they didn't hit Grandis or Wergurumon, then it would just be Bloom everywhere in Ultimate Cups, in like fucking in locals and regionals. It would just be just green supremacy. So maybe they kept it alive just to keep
The effects of
yeah,
too.
just the meta diverse. They hit it, in my opinion. They hit that Wergurumon promo at the wrong time for America because that EX1 Wergurumon, Metal Wergurumon, can send on deletion effects back to the hand, so you can actually bounce Baumon, and it's kind of like it creates an interesting game state where at first it was a meta deck, but now it's shifted to an anti-meta deck because you can get rid of a lot of Buildemons on
you
deletion
can get around a
effects.
lot of hunters too because they have
Yeah,
on deletion fate.
it was bad in BT11 because you can't unsuspend on Black Worker or you just die. But now, since there's so many on deletion, we're in like an on deletion meta where you want to die, which
With
is
red hybrid too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was pretty decent. It was a good anti-meta pick. But now, since it's gone, we're just going to see more of an uptick of red hybrid
Well,
hunters. It's fucked up that
well,
I
that
actually
does.
kind of want Melga around, just to
I'll
keep.
say that does beg an interesting question though, because it's the promo that got hit, not EX1 Metal Gurumon. So, are we just gonna see
Oh,
decks now that are just focused on actually getting to the six as opposed to just ending game
so what
five
I
now?
think most people will do is either they'll go 2 routes. So either use the BT7 Worgarumon or like the EX1 Worgarumon that gains you a memory
Mm.
when you want to spend. Or they'll just go the Stardex what was it, 2 Worgarumon that if they don't have a Digimon, if they have a Digimon with no Digivolution sources out, they'll gain a sec check. But I feel like, Melga's gonna bounce back. Um I think for Grandis though, for Granku, I think what I think both of these really settle down to is not the fact that these were the key engines for the deck. It was like the part of it was like they're trying to shift away from an OTK meta, and the sec check from the Melga stack and the sec check from the Grandis stack. are too oppressive to respond to because you can't really bat Grandis that often as a regular deck,
Mm.
and you really can't defend yourself from the multiple security checks from Wergurumon as a regular deck because every time they swing it unsuspended, they'll just gain checks, and every time Grandis will just clear their security, potentially on like turn 3 or 4 if they hit their pieces.
Yeah, they just really hit the speed of it, like in the like you said, just the oppressiveness of the security checks. That Grand Kawagamon promo was a mistake, but what was also a mistake was not printing any ones that could replace it. There are only like 3 Grand Kawagamons now, and they all suck tremendously bad. So I think Grandis will switch from like a traditional OTK deck to more of like a mid range kind of deck with a lot of cope in it. People will still try to get the
Yeah.
OTK going, but they'll realize that it's not as consistent.
It's
Well, yeah, it's
when it
mid
was
range with like OTK potential if you see the promo.
Yeah,
Like
because
then it'll enable you to like pivot back into old Grandis.
yeah, because
as an Alphamon player, I welcome you all to the struggle of having the one set check card in your deck.
yeah, because it needed it. Because the thing that was oppressive about Grandis is not only was it able to clear out security incredibly fast, it also had access to like one of the most uncontested abilities in the whole like Digimon TCG, which is suspension. There's like I can think one card off the top of my head that's in like the reprint set that says this card cannot be suspended or something like that.
It's the jelly. I think it's like what's the uh, Amphibimon? The
Oh,
level
Amphibimon.
6.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the only card that says in the whole game this card can't become suspended, right?
yeah. Because when you really think about it, like suspension as a grain is kind of broken. For instance, like the EX3 Pomu should say if I'm suspended by any effect, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. It doesn't say a DP restriction, a level restriction.
It's
It's
insane.
straight up. You can just spend a level 7 if you want to with that one card.
You really could, and I love that Pomu to death. And that just goes to show you how strong green really is. Like people like, oh, green is like people say, oh, green is the worst color. Green is actually
Really strong.
extremely good, but
They have to game design wise, they have to limit it because HPD is a card was a mistake. HPD
HPD
was a
was a mistake.
mistake.
Yeah, HPD was a mistake. I was actually seeing HPD going to 0 before I saw the Blossomon getting hit. Honestly, I woke up to like a
Very
Molly
valid.
Yeah.
I do. I will ask though, for the spaces that Grandis opens up now, so if there's no other like Grand Coups that you can like run or anything like that, what would you replace it with? And if you don't max out on 3 of them for whatever reason, do you think like the agile training boost or whatever those training cards are going to be are going to help it a lot?
Oh, 100%.
To like see in the pieces because I know green like definitely like getting more searchers is just a like huge buff for it and it also like goes consistent with the Digivolution cost reduction too
Oh,
that the deck could already do.
100%. Like you got to think about it like this, right? I see those agile trading cards like Pot of Greed in Yu-Gi-Oh, where Pot of Greed does something very simple. It allows you to draw 2 cards. That can help a lot of slower decks in the meta keep
It
up with
doesn't
the
draw two
faster
cards.
decks. But then if it's
It does
beat,
not.
what's up?
It doesn't draw 2 cards. It reveals 2 cards, and if it's the respective color of the card, you can pick it up.
No, I'm saying Pot of Greed from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
I'm using that as an example. Like it'll help a lot of the slower decks, but the decks that are already fast as shit will benefit more from it. So Grandis had the ability, only had like before the limits and everything. It only had 8 surgers. Not Grand Pokemon, Kokuamon X and Green Memory Boost. Now you can max out on the Agile Memory Boost, and it now becomes 12. So now you have that damn near the speed of like a Greymon deck when it comes to searches. Also the reduction, which Green already has cheap, like efficient Digivolve costs. Now you can
You can basically go into the promo for free since
yeah,
Coolmon X already reduces it by what 1.
it reduces it by 1. Not only could you go into
So
the promo for free, you also get the suspension effect from the Coolmon promo, which every time your opponent become suspended, you lose a memory. So now you're just gaining a lot of advantage. And I know what you're saying. Oh yeah, Grandis only hits 18. Everything in the format is like 20k plus. That's only War Gray and like maybe Machine Dramon, and nobody's really playing War Gray and Machine Dramon to that extent. Maybe at locals they are, but like I didn't really hear a lot of War Gray yesterday. I heard a lot of Bills Mon. So
Well, you talking about like BP wise getting that high?
yeah, what else can get that high? Like on the
Red
opponent's turn.
hybrid.
Red hybrid.
Oh, you mean on your opponent's turn?
Yeah.
No, red hybrid can go up to like 18, maybe 20k on your turn,
Right.
or potentially higher. But you know, on your opponent's turn, yeah, it's just like Machine Dramon, maybe just Greymon. Greymon can easily get up to 22k.
Right. Right. And the thing about those is you don't even have to attack them. You could just go around it because you can
Yeah.
suspend them. Yeah. So I
I
see.
mean,
Oh, go ahead.
the way I look at it is like, I think these hits are fine. This is a better. I think the worst ban list had to be the Jet Sylphie and Tommy hit right before a regional happened,
Oh,
which really messed people up. So I think this is better. I don't really think there's any card in this game other than these four that I really have a problem with that I think should be on the ban list, unless y'all think otherwise.
I really do think HPD should go as a green player. It's just not a
I don't know why they allow that in Ultimate Cup. That's the crazy thing.
HPD is a fucked up card, bro. It basically says once per turn, once per turn you can play a fucking, you can Digimon for free, basically, and that's like,
HPD in the courts.
it's gross. HPD in the courts is gross. Another card I would have actually liked to have seen gone is potentially, actually no, I had nothing. Actually, none. Everything. I already said Death Slinger, so Death Slinger wasn't hit, but the engine was hit, not necessarily the gas. So.
All right, then we can probably jump off base and talk about some of the things we've been noticing about the negativity in the community.
Bro, if Reddit wasn't bitching about like Red Hybrid already, oh my god, bro, Reddit's probably on fire right now, bro. Crazy.
Yeah, I was about to say this definitely seems like an interesting topic because in terms of negativity in the Digimon community, I feel like there's a couple of angles to, attack it from. I think, since we just got off the topic of ban lists and, a deck topic regionals, how do you guys feel about like I guess the cycle of negativity? Because it seems like you said, Zixxsa, like anytime something wins, people are gonna complain about it. Anytime a ban list comes through, you're gonna have a mixture of people who complain as well as the people who are happy because they complained, which is why it got hit, as opposed to coming up with answers on your own, with few exceptions, because there's definitely some cards that definitely need to be restricted or hit. But what do you guys think about that? Like, the cycle of everything.
I can speak from experience playing a lot of different TCGs that when you do something or when you make a decision in your TCG, not everyone's going to be happy. What you should do is make a decision that will benefit the game itself. The community's the community, you're going to have it's a competitive game. You're going to have a toxic community to some extent. I will agree though that the Digimon TCG used to be a lot more friendlier back in the day. Like a year ago, around this time, it was a lot more inviting. It was a lot less sweaty. It's a lot of sweats now. Like I guess they're flipping from other games and joining the game. But now every time I like go on social media or something, it's somebody complaining about, I don't know why they printed the EX2 Antmon for Bilzamon. I don't know why Red Hybrid has the ability to check 3 security on like turn 3. Bloom has too many searchers. I can't believe Bloom has like fucking like 2 searchers and it's just too good because Hydra could just spin my stuff to the bottom of the deck. Everybody's gonna have something they complain about, right? So if you're really that worried about that card in particular, how about you just tech cards in to stop that card, right? like it's a terrible idea. But if you keep going to your like locals and you're getting mollywopped by red hybrid, why don't you play a deck that counters red hybrid? Like that was the whole reason I put in Tokobalumon. What's the burger Digimon from BT11? What's that card?
Oh, I know there's Bergamon and Bergamon.
the
The
egg.
egg, yeah, the egg is Tokobalmon.
I have Dev up right here. You're talking about. No, you're thinking BT12.
Not B.
BT11 was Tanemon.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. BT12, my bad.
Tori Karabalmon.
Tori
That's the one.
Karabalmon, that's a hell of a fucking name. But Tori Karabalmon, the whole reason I even put that in my Bloom list is because my locals in particular has a lot of red and purple. Bloom naturally just can't get over War Gray, but if I know my locals is going to have 5 War Gray players that day, I'm going to need all the fucking DP I can get. Now, if I'm going to regionals, of course I'm going to take that card out for Argo. That's when you have to realize your meta. You have to understand my meta has a lot of blue. So I'll play Quartzmon to shut blue down, right? You gotta just think. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna run my fucking Aosmon deck, and I'm gonna just mollywop all the purple players at locals, and it's gonna be great. You know what I'm saying? You gotta kind of like. You gotta play the game. Yeah, you gotta put things into perspective, man. If you want to be like a legend, you want to be like a legends at your locals. You want to be that one guy that won with like a Aosmon during like BT12 format where Impmon is at the height of its power. Yeah, that's cool, but don't go on Reddit and complain that you didn't win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. Because it's like I feel like you if you see the reward of being able to win with that. You also got to understand the risk of you might just get clapped up. And I think it takes you got to have the mindset of being okay with that and just seeing it as more information gain. And then going back, retweaking your deck, and then practicing different matchups that may have surprised you. And then just seeing all the holes in the deck and everything, like you said earlier,
Yeah, of course. I know Bloom does pretty terrible against War Gray because I can't hit over War Gray. So how about I put cards in my deck that give me 4K on my turn plus the 2K I already get from the just having suspended green Digimon out, right, with the piercing. You gotta understand how metas work, like a locals meta and a regionals meta are 2 totally different things. We can go to our locals and see what not Hunter. We can go to our locals. One week we'll see all cross hard, and then the next week we'll see all bloom. Not all bloom. All red. You know what I mean? But when you go to regionals, of course you're going to see a lot of Billzamon. Of course you're going to see a lot of Hunters. Of course you're going to see these main decks because these are the decks that usually get the best results, right? Or have information. There's information on them that tells you that if I pilot this deck successfully, because piloting it and piloting it successfully is 2 totally different things. If I pilot the deck successfully, it's a higher chance I'm going to get these results. People piloted Billzamon because at the last regionals it won, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of the people that probably went to this regionals just net decked that list and played that. But the interesting thing about the Digimon trading card game is that no matter what you do, if you net deck something, 9 times out of 10 it's not really going to work for you because you don't like the ratios. Digimon is really based on ratios, right? Everybody has different ratios and different techs and ideas for their deck. So it may work for you, won't work for everybody else. I remember I played Jared's Jessmon list at locals one time, and I fucking hated it. But then he played it the other week and he won. You know what I mean? It's just you gotta do what works for you in this sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hate that Jessmon list too, man. I fucking hate that.
Don't worry. I hate Jessmon as well.
Don't mention that to Alex.
All right. On the Jessmon topic, I think Jessmon's okay as a deck. I think it's way too it's too volatile in terms of his matchups. It can either have a really good time or a really bad time. I played it in the regional in April because I was like, man, my mind's already on BT12. You're having a regional on BT12 release weekend. What are you thinking? And I was like, I'm gonna play Jessmon. Maybe I'll have a good time. and I run into a tie with Bloom Lord. I lose to Machine Dramon, and I forgot what else I faced, but I was like, I'm not having a good time. I'm just going to drop after round 3. Uh, and Machine Dramon probably felt the worst because it's like, oh, I have Analog Man Herder redirect into me. I swung into Analog Man Herder redirect into me, and Justmon hates getting redirected because all it does is swing. Swinging is his like first priority.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, it loses. And Machine Dramon is actually a pretty strong deck. I forgot. I said I lost to Machine Dramon. Machine Dramon is a pretty strong deck if you don't have the pieces to play around it. And I think that's something else that people got to deal with, learn how to deal with at this point. It's not is exactly the most popular deck, but it's one of the best decks right now. It's gotten support every about every set since EX1. Because they're just like, oh, look, a level 5 cyborg. I can, that's black or red. I can throw this into Machine Dramon. So, yeah.
I mean, literally.
I mean, I guess from my perspective, looking at the community as a whole, ever since One Piece came out last year and Battlespace this year,
yeah,
we have been noticing a lot of content creators have been like dropping the game for those games. Do y'all feel like the game is dead? Do y'all feel like it's going in the wrong direction? Like, what's your thoughts on people?
So, to speak on that, I think it was One Piece was either released at the worst time possible or the best time possible. Because
depends on the community.
Yeah,
it depends on who you are. Yeah. So there was a lot of drop off in Digimon, a lot of change in perspective on Digimon, because at the time they really scuffed the release schedule. We had BT10. We played through BT9. BT9 was the complete trenches. You had a bunch of OTK decks going. You had to go deal with, and then you know maybe it came out in July, so late July. So we had about a few months, and then October we get BT10. BT10 was and I think that got delayed too. I'm not sure if it was for us or for someone else, but that came out in October. And you know it was all right, but it was short lived. And then then 4 weeks later we got a ban list announced. They hit Alphamon. They hit Cross 4, and then the Calling from Darkness, and we go right into EX3. 4 weeks later, we only had one regional Ultimate Cup tournament, whatever, to really get results for BT10. It was such a short-lived format, so. Then we get EX3, and we're sitting here and playing it.
It felt like the end of time. It felt like the end of time.
It was boring to play in because there's nothing that really changed. Only new decks that really got in the mix was Bloom Examon. Was a playable deck in Examon, yeah, and then maybe Purple Imperial. But a lot of the times, the EX decks that come out are really built to compete within themselves. They're not strong enough to deal with the external meta of the actual main sets. Because that's where all new mechanics come out. That's where all the broken stuff really comes out of. And we'll maybe get one or two quality cards that really make the EX set worth buying. And then we had that 3 to 4 month drought. We got EX4 or EX3 in November, and then we had December, January, February we get BT11, which is right around for Nat's time.
Yeah, that was the worst.
And in that between, we had a bunch of I don't know if there was even drama, but we had a bunch of people complaining about dropping the game. Oh, One Piece is really fun. I really enjoy it. I enjoy this thing about it versus Digimon. Because Digimon, you have to deal with what at the time you had to deal with, like a bunch of OTKs. Not even Crossheart was annoying, but it was a lot of time for people to take a break from the game and really think about, do I enjoy playing this game? And if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. I don't care. I'm still playing the game, but a lot of people were like kind of naysayers about Digimon. They're like, oh well, I like this thing about One Piece. I have a mulligan at the time. I have security doesn't really kill you. I have you know the
It
best
was
of one
slower.
games, but it's a really quote unquote balanced meta. I'm like, if you're in the first set of a game, everything's going to be balanced, quote unquote. Yeah, I'm getting to that. Red is going to be one of the best decks because aggro's always going to be good, strong early
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
and it's still really strong right now. Uh, I'm not going to be here to complain about One Piece, or debate One Piece. I'm just saying, like, people had a lot of time to think about how they enjoyed Digimon, and then BT11 comes back, and then people are like, "Oh man, I'm coming back." Yeah, I think they're just bored. They're just bored of the game.
Yeah, because you gotta,
Mm-hmm.
because you touched on a very important thing. When Digimon came out, we talked about this the other day, but when Digimon came out, the three best decks were Blue Omni, Red Omni, and Rookie
And
Rush.
Rookie Rush.
Yeah, and Rookie Rush carried people all the way up into like BT6, right? You could still technically play Rookie Rush in BT6 and be fine.
And the Rookie Rush decks in BT6 were Agumon, Bond of Courage, and what you call it, Gabumon, Bond of Friendship.
Yep, and Commandramon.
they just turned yeah,
Yeah,
that too.
yeah.
But after like BT6, Rookie Rush started to fall off because the game was starting to speed up, and I think people, after a while, it's just the psychology of power creep. People are going to stop enjoying the games because power creep gets a little bit too much, and they realize, man, I really can't adapt to this game unless I find a way for myself to enjoy it. Yeah.
Hey Clay, you gotta hop in, man. You gotta hop in. Nobody can hear you. Hop in on Discord.
Yeah, that's good. He's good.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of. Yeah, adding on to his point, yes, there was a lot more removal for smaller bodies, so the play style, they had to restructure it, right?
Mm-hmm.
With like Armor Rush or something that gives them a little bit more power, but they can still have low to the ground bodies that just run at security. So security doesn't really have much to do with, or they're not a lot of, like, I guess blockers being staples kind of fell off too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of cards that just mitigate it, so they had to adapt blocking into different decks as well. So, again, putting it in perspective, people are you have to find out what works for you in a certain meta, and a lot of people just didn't want to do that. They wanted to play their favorite decks, and unfortunately, yeah, Bandai doesn't want to support a lot of decks because they're like, Greymon, original Tamers, that's what we're going with in BT14. But even then, the stuff that they're releasing is really good. And well, in my opinion, obviously this is opinionated, but a lot of the stuff that they're releasing for the cards is really good quality.
Yeah.
So, I guess back to it. Yeah, it's really just like people not wanting to deal with the power creep. The early stages of a game can always be enjoyed. Remember how we had like a bunch of different tournaments going on per week. Like we had Gyroshan, we had Never Spark Local Legends, we had GFG still. Mario, I guess, was just starting out. We had a lot of different tournaments, a lot of different regionals. People were all signed up for. They would sell out like the day they opened.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you have a bit more leeway because a lot of people are dropping off the game. They're like, oh, I'll just wait for next set. Oh, I'll just wait for this set to come out so my favorite Digimon gets supported. So yeah, it's I guess to close it out, it's really just people picking and choosing what they like and dislike about the game, and they're always going to either drop off like flies or come back whenever something they might like comes in, and then they play and then they don't enjoy it because they get hit. They face decks like Beelzemon. They face decks like whatchamacallit, hunters, and you can't deal with that. And when you start playing something else, you're like, oh well, maybe I'm enjoying this a little bit more. It happens with a lot of different games, not even just card games. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think also to piggyback off what you just said, when
Mhm.
Digimon came out, there were only really 3 card games you could play. Right? You could only play Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Magic. And then when Digimon came out, it was something new, and the mechanics were at the time different enough to differentiate it away from a lot of the other card games. But now there's so many other games you can play. Not only can you play like the big 3 that I just mentioned, you can also, if you want to break your wallet, you can play Vanguard again. Um, Disney Lorcana is about to come out soon. I know some people are dropping Digimon for Lorcana. One Piece, as we just said, if you want to just stick in an all red meta, red your favorite color in Digimon, you can go to One Piece and make a lot of success. Battle Spirits got released, and that's a little bit more favorable to play because they're cash prizes. But and also that Union Arena game that's coming out, I think this year.
Yeah, it's coming out around like October, November.
Right, yeah. So there's so many more games you can play. I think we're going to go into a format where it's not a format. Well, we get like a TCG format where it's going to be like an oversaturation of TCGs. And
yeah. There's a high saturation of these games.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
it's entirely too many. Entirely too many.
Well,
Yeah,
well, go ahead, Jeff.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I guess from that perspective, I guess we could just start to like look at this retroactively. How do y'all feel if BT12 as a whole and gearing up for EX4?
I actually enjoy BT12 format. There is a lot of Beelzemon, honestly.
Give it to June first.
But I like BT12. I think Digimon needed BT12 because a lot more people. Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of the veterans are leaving, but a lot more people are starting to play the game too. And that's at the end of the day, that's all we really want is more people to play the game. Because in my opinion, I think this is just the best card game out right now. It's certainly the most balanced card game out right now.
I don't know about that.
Okay, yeah, I don't know about balance because we'll have to see after the ban list.
I guess it was not balanced.
I was gonna say, yeah. I think BT12 is personally, I think it was a good set for the game, but I do agree that there were a lot of reservations that came with it. Beelzemon. I think one of Beelzemon's biggest problems is that there's a lot of ease of the accessibility.
Yeah,
There's a low entry barrier because you just buy the 2 of the starter deck. You buy 2, like you get a few EX2 Beelzemons, and then invest in very low costing cards in BT12. Boom, you have a Beelzemon deck, and you're ready to do the mirror matches because that's what you're gonna face in regionals. Versus like say you wanted to get into the game, say Old Force is your favorite Digimon, right? Well, then you gotta get 4 arenas. And you know how much arena costs? Let's open up.
Let's open up TCG player really quick.
Let's just give a blanket $50 per card.
Yeah. Yeah. Arena Shinomiya is a $50 card, so you gotta
just for the base,
just for the
base rarity,
just for the base rarity, because they decided to make it a secret rare.
But guys, you can run the BT2 Alt Force Vidramon and still be okay. And you can still play Alt Force. What?
You're coping.
You're coping?
You're coping hard.
Yeah. So it it's a good thing, right? Because Beelzemon is a fan favorite Digimon. He's popular in the Tamers anime. He's a really cool looking Digimon. Like, who doesn't like edgelord Digimon with wings and guns? I'm American. I love when my Digimon have guns. Look at Gargomon. It's I expected it to be a very popular deck, especially when you can burn security for Digivolving. It's really good. outside of that, like yeah, you have a lot of the
Others.
the fan favorites from the anime that
Mm.
all came together in one episode. You get to see Tai and Greymon. You get to see was it
Aguni,
Takuya
Takuya,
and
yeah.
Going to Goonimon and Emperor Greymon. You get to see what was his name, Takuya.
Marcussy.
Marcus, or Cussy.
Yeah, no, we're not calling him that. You
Oh,
get to see
true.
Marcus punch Digimon. Like that's the most hype thing ever. Who none of the other guys punch Digimon except for Marcus. I'm
Well,
biased.
Takuya punched Digimon. That's a Digimon.
Yeah, he punched Digimon as a Digimon. But Marcus skipped
That
the
doesn't
steps. He
count.
doesn't have to transform. He just goes around
Exactly. He's
boxing with
strong on his own.
everything.
Yeah, he punches a Digimon and then just punches his fist into the freaking Digivice and says Digivolve.
Marcus got a
And
fisting
people
fetish.
want him to get limited too. Outside the balance aside, it's a good set for a lot of the people to come back to the game
Mhm.
and enjoy the game because you get to play with some of your favorite decks, and they're all playable decks too.
Yeah, and they're really reasonable. Like, and it's a really reasonable game. Minus the whole arena thing because I know that's like a meme. But you could build a decent War Greymon deck, like
Mhm.
pretty
Yep.
cheap. It's like $100 because you got to get the promo like Agumons. But even then, you don't even really need those that much anymore. You could still play
No,
them.
no, you can use the star deck. You can use the star deck 7 Agumon. So when you swing at security, gain 2P
Yeah,
on 2K, and when you raid, it'll still
Isn't
keep the 2K.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fine. You know what I mean? There's cheaper, effective ways to play
Yeah.
Digimon,
Yeah,
unless
Yeah.
you
yeah,
really
yeah.
like Arena.
We're at the point in the game's life where there's a lot of pieces outside of Rena that can kind of be placeholders for others.
You could literally
And
go to your locals, beg for commons and rares, and then have a hunter's deck.
Pretty much, yeah. You can build the set.
mm-hmm,
Only thing you is probably hard to get was the superior modes.
That's it. That's it. And quartz maybe.
mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all you need. And you don't even need quartz
Um,
because you can
Yeah,
just use bills on X.
or
I mean,
Crossheart, right? Crossheart's pretty cheap to
yeah,
get
you can
into as
definitely
well.
you can. I mean, you need to go across multiple sets, but you can definitely go across art. It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah, it's,
cheap.
it's reasonably budget
Yeah.
to play, and it's a very strong deck. So I
Yeah.
don't see why
Well,
not.
yeah. It's very easy to play cross art too. Very low to the ground. It's hard to misplay with cross art because you just swing at security.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Uh,
misplay because it'll pay you back for it.
yeah.
Yeah, they don't die.
Uh,
They just save.
yeah.
Yeah, save
Um,
is a very strong mechanic.
It's very
Mhm.
strong.
Go
if
ahead.
I had to think about the set as a whole, about each individual decks, Gray Hybrid, good deck. Gallimon needs more support. Imperial, bad deck. Not most
Oh
because
right,
they're trying to like introduce two different styles of control and aggro, and one they don't work with each other as well as they should. Um, Marcus, it'll be tier 1. Just give it a couple months. Um, what else we got? We got Hunters and Quartz. Quartz is a demonic card that shouldn't exist, but Green needs it, I guess. Or rather, Diaboromon and Eosmon needed it, I guess.
That's what I'm saying.
Um,
The game needed quartz because all the quartz supports all the shitty colors, bro. I swear to God, every
yeah,
Diaboromon won the
why
other
does it
day.
support yellow then?
yeah.
What? Yellow's fine.
Uh,
It's got shine, bro. You're gonna have your time in 2 more sets.
No,
just enjoy
Shine
Shine.
is a red deck with yellow properties. Get it
Now if
right.
you build a yellow base, oh, Black Base Shine.
Yeah, black
Hey,
base
people
shine,
out there, don't sleep on Black Base Shine.
I hate this
80
meme.
force in the mirror. It's going to
Telling
decide
you.
it.
You're afraid of a mirror in
Uh,
BT12.
I'm literally playing Machine Dramon in BT13 because he can't be DP reduced, bro. That's my fucking
Yeah.
like.
But yeah, Greymon decks regarding this sec, they got a huge buff with the tie and the whole like Greymon line this way. Beelzemon's a demonic too, no pun intended. And yeah, the set, other than the secret rails kind of being like dog shit, yeah, this is a pretty good set.
Oh, 100%.
I think if you were, I think honestly, if you were to get this set, there are like a lot of hits and misses. But in terms of like all types of value, as long as you kind of hit like the chase cards or like some good SRs, you're good. As long as you don't hit Darkness Barter, you're good. So if I had to say, if you're going to get into the game, just do a little research, pick out like a color or deck that you want, and kind of try to go accordingly. You can play low to the ground with hunters or your crawls to get in, or even Commandramon for that instance too, because that's even more
Oh,
simpler in
Commandramon
design.
is so
Uh,
cheap.
yeah. And then once you go up to there, like as soon as you get ready for EX4, that drops next month. Um, things to look out. You'll get support for various sets, Sean support, Blue Flare support, Dark Knight support, Galamon support. We get introduced to Ravemon and Alter S decks.
Mm-hmm.
So and Alliance is a new keyword. So you'll have plenty of things to work with to kind of just jump from there.
On the topic of EX4, what decks are you guys planning on like piloting in the EX4 format? I'm just curious.
Gallon and Rave.
Gallon gets support.
Yeah,
Yes.
I get the
Yeah,
guild.
Gallon and
Oh,
Medieval.
You only
and
get
medieval,
support
right?
every EX set. Come on now.
And it's funny
Yeah.
because you say that, and then Spider-Man's over here like, Gallant needs more support, and
It
it's.
still does.
Everybody
It's
gets
still
supported,
give me a
has been
redirect.
supported since BT what? What?
Two.
No. Yeah. It's gotten some straight support since EX3. Skip over 11, we got 12, EX4, and then 13.
It still needs more.
I
It needs
know.
good
So does
support.
Greymon. And Greymon needs more support too. That's why you see Greymon's getting.
You're getting a starter deck. Where's my second starter deck?
My bad. I meant Shine Greymon.
You still get more support.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear it. That new Agumon from BT14 looking good, huh?
Mm-hmm. Did it say any Greymon?
Mm-hmm. Not just as Greymon.
I can't.
Greymon specifically.
That Palmon,
Okay.
I can't fucking wait to use that Palmon, bro. Oh man, start
I
your main
mean,
phase, get something when it gets suspended, lose 2 memory.
but I guess for EX4, Saki, since you're back in here, what are you looking forward to in EX4?
Well, upgrading Blue Flare, of course. I feel like I have to. And then I'm also gonna, just for a more fun deck, probably dabble with like some blue yellow stuff using Kazuhamon, because like Kazuhamon is just a cool card to me. I'm also going to be looking at Cherubimon, because the whole alliance mechanic seems pretty fun. So that's what I'll be focusing on mostly when it comes to X4 specifically. And I know, Jared, I don't know if you mentioned this yet, but like I know Clay, he was saying for Beelstar, not only does he get Heaven's Judgment, which is 7 cost, but also the Gilmon works well with Beelstar because it's a purple and a red source. And Heaven's Judgment, I think, counts based off of the number of colors of Digimon you have in play. And also it has rush if you and your opponent have 20 or more combined cards in the trash. So not gonna lie, I am very curious to see how that's gonna work out.
Bill Star's looking mighty cheap now too. I don't know how much they are right now, but I think
Billstar.
they can't be more than like 10
Billstar
bucks.
is just gotten. Billstar is just like is trying to stand the test of time, in my opinion. The game is sped up past its necessity right now, and there's not a lot to go off of in terms of trying to get it to go faster. It gets every time they release a new 7 cost option, it gets support technically, but it's a matter of how can I speed up my trash so I can just start throwing out cheap Beal stars and negging your board, destroying things on your board. Between bouncing, they get access to DP minus, and the new ruin mode actually improves the Beal star deck too. That card's going to be very good between purple decks and yellow decks. So I think that it'll help Billstar. I'm just not sure how it'll help how it'll pan out for Billstar in the grand scheme of things. Because really the deck relies a lot on trying to just hold on and hope its security options kind of bail it out of bad situations as well.
That is very true because Bill Star is like $9 right now. So if you want a pretty affordable deck, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Bill Starmon is pretty cheap. You can build it for like $40.
The core build of the deck has not quote unquote really changed ever since BT7. I will say that.
No.
It just, like I said, stand the test of time. You know why? Because Eismon's scatter mode is the core of that deck's offense, and if it doesn't die, then a lot of the speed of that deck goes down by a long shot. Like you face hunters, it's like, man, did I run into like it was a 4K? Did I run into a level 4 or higher? No? Okay. Sucks.
If you swing Eismon into a tamer, that's like the worst feeling.
Yeah, and I'm speaking from an outside perspective, So I'm not a Beelstar player, not a Beelstar technician. I could be completely wrong, but from what I've seen and what I've played against, because my brother is a Beelstar main, I've played him like pretty much every format with that deck. I've just seen like the potential of that deck go up and down. In running that deck in BT9 was already hard enough when you had to deal with Alphamon protecting against things. You have Greymons protecting against things. So, yeah. Melvin not dying to security checks. Yeah.
Oh, poor Beelstar.
Poor Beelstar.
You got
she
your,
just needs your X antibody.
Yeah, I hope you got your Beelstar alt arts, because that motherfucker is $80, by the way. I just looked it up.
Waifu tax.
$80.
And I guess while we're on the topic of decks to play, I am going to be maining Shine Greymon this set.
Oh yeah, whatever, man.
I'm going to be playing that Alter S deck. The deck looks really cool.
It does
look
look
interesting.
interesting.
Like 1 or 2 more.
It does.
Yeah. I've just been messing with test hands on TTS with it. It's nice, but it obviously is very bricky. The interesting part about it is that the searchers, the Gabumon and the Greymon, the Gabumon and Agumon, they search out the top 3 of your deck and stack the top instead of stacking to the bottom. So you can technically get those when you start to digivolve, and they want to start like chain digivolves like Imperial does. It lets you kind of unbrick yourself. You're just like, oh man, here's that piece I also need. I can draw into it, which is pretty interesting. I think it's just a matter of the deck's consistency that's the problem for it, but I don't think it's that bad of a deck.
I tried mixing in some of the Blue Flare stuff with Dark Knight, and I hate it. Because the deck does... Yeah, because the deck does 2 different things in, what's it called? Gray's Nightmon.
Gray Knightsmon. I also tried to form up a few ingredients for that, and I was like, you might be able to tech one of the cards in the other deck, but that's about it. Like
that got a couple tops here and there, so maybe it's doing something right.
Yeah.
Japan, so who knows?
It just seems like playing Gray's Nightmon for 8 just to de-digivolve 1.
Well, you have to understand. You want your opponent to get rid of it. So when your opponent gets rid of it, you'll put out a Metal Greymon that can Digicross, and a Dark Knightmon that can Digicross, and those are the powerful cards.
Yeah.
Well, why not just play the... Never mind, I'm not going to get into that.
There's a way to make it work, but I think you have to also focus on what you want to really accomplish. Build your core. Yeah, build your core around. Do you want to kind of focus on having because it's 2 different engines in the deck, right?
Yeah.
The Dark Knightmon stuff, you want to just hard play and de-digivolve things. Things.
They search for each other and they help each other in a certain degree. There's some synergy there, but
Yeah.
I did see it top a couple times, so maybe I'm missing something, but it just seemed...
To TTS you go?
Yeah, to TTS I go. Yeah, you're right, bro.
Well, with that being said, guys, y'all had any closing remarks for the podcast?
Yeah, let's get some questions. Let's go to the question section. Does the chat have any questions other than Chorokopoki or whatever telling me their crest of courage?
Remember their crest of courage, yeah.
Yeah, of course, crest of courage, bro. Shout out to all the crest of courage.
You know what? While they're putting their questions in, we just got a thing in Digimon events and news. It was like a promotional poster for the 3rd anniversary. And I think, what is this thing? Fenry Lugamon? I think is the level 6 for the new...
that looks sick.
That poster does look pretty.
X-Antibody for the win.
X-Antibody will never go away. You want to ask me what ruined the Digimon TCG is X-Antibodies.
Not
BT9 was probably like the turning point for the game. That was
I thought it was BT7.
No.
Nah, nine.
I think BT9 was the point of power creep that makes or breaks a lot of people with the game. Because there's a lot of OTK decks, and that's when people realize, yeah, OTKs are a problem. Even though they dealt with ancient OTK and all of BT8, but that's besides the point. It's it sped up a lot of decks. It gave Greymon honestly what it needed, because once they move out of raising, there are a lot of decks that would just be like, just get rid of it, like Beelstar, for example.
Yeah, I agree.
Melgo was just tank through security and be like, oh, if I'm gonna lose this battle, I just
No.
Yeah.
The fucking not the ban list, the limited list, the restricted list is what made Melga so fucking strong, bro. Because the two things that stopped Melga got hit, and I hated it.
Which was yellow hybrid and blue hybrid, which was
they hit yellow and blue hybrid.
Burnt it out.
And then once they hit Doru Gray, it revealed the true fucking problem. Hitting Doru Gray was stupid. Free my man Doru Gray.
Oh my god.
Savior Huckmon.
And Savior Huckmon, bro.
Listen, playing Doru Goramon and Dex Doru Goramon was so fun, and I was like, oh man, and I could take a Scopalucci, and then they shot Doru Gray, and I was like, I didn't deserve that stray.
You called the hardest stray.
The hardest.
Fucking deck, bro. I can't stand. It just doesn't make any sense. Why would you limit that Savior Huck if you're gonna make a bunch of shit later that says when you unsuspend you die? Like, I don't fucking get it. I don't get it.
It was future proof, and they was trying to build in tech.
It's fucking stupid.
It calls into question, what Bandai really focuses on in terms of what they want to be good and bad, because obviously they're the ones in power, so they're like, hey, hit these cards. Hey, hit these cards at this time where the decks aren't as relevant. Like hitting Granku way past its prime. I think that deck fell off way too hard because like Crossheart can just run through it pretty fast. Like sure, it has a few good matchups into a lot of the OTK decks or a lot of single stack decks, but those decks that can, like the Digicross decks, they can just kind of come back and kill you for it.
I 100% agree.
Like hunters can just tuck things under. You can run through the hunter's security, but they can just tuck things under. They've already dealt maybe two hits to your security by the time you moved out of Grandis after you finished searching all your pieces, and then you just go in.
Like I get why people are upset at Grandis. Like it's a mollywhopper for sure, but
I think it's the training cards too.
Yeah, that's true too. But we're not even we're American. We don't even have those fucking training cards. So why are people complaining?
We're not getting those until like maybe July.
We're not getting those till next year, bro. Let's be honest.
Listen, I just hope the training cards aren't built like the security rookies. I really hope we get them this summer, as opposed to like getting them to a point where they might not even.
Yeah, because they improve a lot of decks.
Oh yeah,
a lot of decks.
And the security rookies could have really shook up the meta back in like when did they get released? BT9.
Yeah, that would have helped a lot, a few decks.
It would have helped Billstarmon for starters. It would have really helped.
Billstarmon too, honestly, giving them another Entmon. So.
Honestly, to be fair, I would have definitely thrown Belucamon and Blue Flare during that time, but like then I wouldn't have came up with the Jellymon tech. So I mean, it's 50-50 for me.
Yeah, I understand.
Free reinforcement memory boost? I don't think so, bro. That card, matter of fact, would things even change if reinforced memory boost went to like 4 again?
Yes.
Shit is so fast. I guess if you hit it out of security, that's sacky.
No, if you hit what's his name? If you bring back reinforcement, the problem is that security control is going to have a lot more memory to work with a lot of the times, and they can also start stacking their security. It's going to give a lot more security control type variants a lot of play too. So like Yellow Hybrid is going to be a little bit more annoying because they'll have a higher volume of that card coming back. And they're already supporting Yellow as much as it is, and the fact that it gives 3 memory instead of 2, like every other memory boost, can be problematic. So restricted Dramon superior waiting room. I'll say I don't think that it necessarily needs to get hit as much as the regular Arrestor Dramon. Because that regular Arrestor Dramon is pretty much how they amount the comebacks. The superior mode is just like their one winning. It's their removal. It's their main source of removal, and it's the main source of their, kind of.
Games.
He's pretty much their. The winning piece? Yeah, he's a win con. So, a Arrestor Dramon that gives rush would need to get a restriction, if anything, because it's like, man, I can Digicross for 2. Oh, I can Digivolve for free. Oh, I can go and I get rush. You at least want, it'll at least give, if you lower the amount of that card to maybe 1 or none, it would at least give
make
other decks a way to respond to it, because they've already tucked things under. And generally, the Arrestor Dramon Superior Mode wouldn't survive past the turn that it came out, but considering how many tamers they can play out and they all reduce Digivolution costs, I would expect at least giving a card like that rush a hit. Like, it's like how people want the Shoutmon in Crossheart restricted, because the Shoutmon just gives them rush and they can keep recycling it and running at opponents with it every turn. And I think that hitting that to 1 would be very beneficial, because man, I could be up like 2 security to their 0 and just lose, because it's like, man, they have 3 attacks that they can do, and they want one of those to die.
I can't stand that Shoutmon, bro. That Shoutmon against Rush is the most toxic card in that fucking deck, bro. Do
I think that the Shoutmon should get hit? Maybe. I think that Shoutmon, between all the consistency,
if you don't see that piece, you can't play the deck.
Okay,
exactly. So I don't know if I would hit that as much as maybe one of their consistency pieces, because they have cross 3. Would I hit cross 3? Probably not. I'd probably hit Taiki or Taiki Kiri Hanene.
Hey, cross 3.
Taiki Kiri Hanene giving them extra memory every turn. Like,
they need the memory too to make the
plays. I know.
If anything, I'll say
Taiki. Just hit him with it. Yeah, Taiki could probably get hit.
Yeah, I would say Taiki. I mean, they're not going to hit Shoutmon because that's like the poster boy, bro.
They do have other Shoutmons, and they would probably have to play those. The deck is more of a blocker type deck.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting the rush, hitting the rush Shoutmon would definitely hurt that deck.
Free my man Icemon, bro. I mean, free my man Icemon.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say, I don't.
Yeah, they have cross 7, so. Well, we'll see. We'll see how much that would actually hurt the deck if you actually want to test it, Ariel. Yeah.
I think we should be good. I think we went over everything we wanted to go over. I will say though, if for any topics that y'all want to see us talk about, or any Drakes you want to see their takes on, you can just join our Discord in the link in the stream chat, and just, I guess, just chat at us. Be like, yo, talk about this. You won't. No balls, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the first ever podcast. Thank you all for coming out. It was a really good podcast, honestly. We talked about a lot of good stuff. It was beautiful. A lot of people got to speak their opinions. I'm ready to take a nap.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry too. I'm starving. Any closing remarks from anyone else, or?
I'm good.
Alright, sounds good.
Shine Greymon did nothing wrong.
You said Shine Greymon did nothing wrong?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say thanks for coming out, everybody, and also check out our subscribe to our YouTube. I don't know if that links in the stream rotation, but
it is. It's just lagging.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all so much for coming out. Oh yeah, we're gonna have the restream on YouTube too. I'm gonna as soon as this podcast is done, that won't work. I'm download it and put it on YouTube. I haven't got that set up, Waffles. I'm slacking, man.
I can help with that.
Thanks, I appreciate that. All right, guys, y'all take it easy.
All right, see ya.
Have a good one, y'all.
Peace.